Across the animal kingdom, some species have evolved to live for unbelievable amounts of time. For today's video, I'm going to count down 15 of the longest living species in the world. Let's start with number 15, the bowhead whale, a 200-year lifespan. The bowhead whale, found in the waters of the Arctic and subarctic, it's the longest living mammal known to science. Some individuals have been confirmed to live well over 200 years. This longevity was dramatically confirmed in the 2000s when Alaskan whalers recovered a harpoon fragment embedded in a whale's blubber that dated back to the 1800s. Chemical analysis and traditional knowledge of the tools used showed that the weapon came from around 1890, meaning that the whale carrying it had survived for over 120 years, possibly more. Bowhead whales grow up to about 60 feet long and they can weigh up to 100 tons. And unlike many other whales, bowheads don't migrate long distances, instead remaining in the Arctic waters year-round. They're equipped with a thick layer of blubber up to 20 inches that insulates them from freezing temperatures, and their name comes from their distinctive bow-shaped skulls, which they use to break through the sea ice. This species' extreme longevity is likely tied to its slow metabolism and low body temperature. These whales live in one of the harshest environments on the planet, and their systems have to be adapted for endurance rather than speed. Recent genomic studies of bowhead whales have identified unique genes related to DNA repair, cancer resistance, and metabolic regulation, all factors that likely contribute to their long lives. Researchers have sequenced the bowhead whale genome in an effort to better understand its resistance to aging and disease. And unlike many mammals, including humans, bowhead whales show limited signs of age-related degeneration. They also exhibit low cancer rates, despite their long lifespans and massive size, which would typically correlate with increased cancer risk in other animals. This has made the species a focus of aging research, with scientists hoping to learn more about how these mechanisms might apply to human health. Bowheads were heavily hunted during the commercial whaling era, particularly during the 19th century. Their population declined dramatically due to demand for their oil and baleen. Despite this, though, individuals from that era survived into the 21st century. And since the ban on commercial whaling and the introduction of conservation measures, many bowhead populations have shown signs of recovery. Currently, the International Union for the Conservation of Nature, the IUCN, lists the bowhead whale as of least concern, though some subpopulations are still recovering. Indigenous communities in Alaska and northern Canada continue to hunt bowhead whales under tightly regulated quotas for subsistence and cultural reasons, and these hunts are managed to ensure the species' survival and are a vital part of local tradition. The bowhead whale's extraordinary longevity is not just a biological curiosity. It's a living record of Arctic history. Individuals swimming today may have been alive before the invention of the light bulb, surviving multiple generations of environmental change, human conflict, and industrial expansion. This makes them not only the longest living mammals, but also some of the most historically significant animals alive today. That harpoon discovery is often cited as the most dramatic example of the bowhead's longevity, but it's not unique. Other whales have been found with old harpoon fragments and scars, confirming their ability to live well beyond a human lifespan. The ongoing study of bowheads continues to yield data on aging, adaptation, and its resilience in one of the Earth's most extreme environments. With ongoing monitoring, protection, and research, the bowhead whale remains both a biological marvel and a symbol of endurance in the face of changing human history. Number 14, the Greenland shark, a species that can live for over 400 years. The Greenland shark is one of the most mysterious and long-lived vertebrates on the planet. Native to the deep, cold waters of the North Atlantic and Arctic, this species can live for over 400 years. Scientific studies published in 2016 used radiocarbon dating on the eye lenses of female Greenland sharks to estimate ages between 270 and 510 years, with one specimen likely over 392 years old at the time of capture. This makes the Greenland shark the longest living vertebrate known to science. These sharks are slow-growing and slow-moving, with a top speed of less than 2 kilometers per hour. They can grow to more than 20 feet long, but it may take over 150 years to reach this full size. The cold temperatures of their deep-water habitat significantly slow their metabolism, which is believed to be a contributing factor to that longevity. Their sluggish lifestyle and low internal body temperature, just a few degrees above freezing, appear to be adaptations for survival over extreme timeframes. Unlike other sharks that are apex predators, Greenland sharks are scavengers and opportunistic feeders. Their diet includes fish, seals, and carrion. Remains of polar bears, horses, and even moose have been found in their stomachs, likely scavenged from the sea floor. Despite their size, their poor eyesight, partly due to parasitic copepods that attach to their corneas, limits their ability to hunt active prey. Due to the difficulty of studying deep-sea species and the extreme depth at which they live, typically between 600 and 1,200 meters, very little is known about their behavior. Tagging studies have shown that Greenland sharks are solitary and migrate over long distances, sometimes crossing entire ocean basins. Reproduction in Greenland sharks remains poorly understood. They're believed to be ovoviviparous, with females giving birth to live young after internal egg development. Now, maturity is not reached until approximately 150 years of age, a rate that is unmatched by any other vertebrate. This makes the species highly vulnerable to population loss as they reproduce very slowly. Greenland sharks were historically hunted for their liver oil, and although commercial exploitation has largely ended, they are still caught as bycatch in deep-sea fisheries. Climate worries have increased oceanic activity, and deep-sea trawling presents risks to this already elusive species. The IUCN currently lists the Greenland shark as vulnerable. The remarkable lifespan of the Greenland shark offers researchers a valuable model for studying aging and longevity. Their ability to survive for centuries in dark, high-pressure, low-temperature environments suggests unique adaptations that could inform human aging and medical science. Studies continue on their genome, physiology, and life history traits. The Greenland shark's near immortality, by vertebrate standards, underscores the fact that longevity is often tied to slow metabolic process. It remains one of the most extreme examples of a lifespan in the animal kingdom. Number 13. The quahog, the 500-year-old mollusk. The ocean quahog clam, found in the North Atlantic Ocean, is a species of edible bivalve mollusk that holds one of the most extraordinary records of longevity in the animal world. Individuals have been verified to live more than 500 years. The most famous specimen, known as Ming, was determined to be 507 years old when it was collected off the coast of Iceland in 2006. Ocean quahogs live buried in sandy beaches at depths between 25 to 400 meters. They grow extremely slowly, adding a thin growth ring to their shells each year, similar to tree rings. Scientists can count these rings to determine the age of the clam. The environment in which they live is cold, dark, and stable, which contributes to that longevity. Ming's age was established by counting shell growth rings under a microscope, and its collection inadvertently resulted in the death of the oldest known individual. Nevertheless, its shell provided critical data for studies on long-term environmental change, including ocean temperatures and chemical composition over the centuries. The clam's biology is remarkably slow. They exhibit very low metabolic rates and maintain stable DNA, which reduce cell damage over time. This minimizes the typical wear and tear seen in most animals, including oxidative stress and cellular senescence. Scientists are particularly interested in how ocean quahogs resist age-related diseases and maintain cellular health. But despite their longevity, quahogs are not immune to the environmental pressure. They are harvested commercially for food in parts of Europe and North America, though regulations have been introduced to protect older reproductive individuals. Their populations are still considered stable, and they're not currently listed as threatened or endangered. Ocean quahogs are used as climate proxies. Because their shells contain chemical records of the ocean environment, researchers can extract data about past climate conditions going back hundreds of years. This makes the species not only biologically fascinating, but also environmentally valuable. This combination of environmental stability and low metabolic activity makes the ocean quahog one of the longest living non-colonial animals on Earth. While other organisms like corals or sponges can live longer as colonies, few individuals match the ocean quahog in personal lifespan. Its contribution to science spans both biology and climatology, and it remains an example of life adapted to endurance rather than speed. Number 12. The rough-eye rockfish, a deep-dwelling centenarian. The rough-eye rockfish, boy that's a good name, is one of the longest living fish species in the world. It's native to the North Pacific Ocean, particularly from Japan to the Bering Sea and along the coast of North America to California. This species can live more than 200 years. Verified specimens have been aged at over 205 years using ear bone ring counts. That's a reliable method of determining age in fish. The rough-eye rockfish is slow-moving and deep-dwelling. It's typically found at depths between 150 and 450 meters, although they've been recorded as deep as 900 meters. These fish grow to lengths of 30 to 38 inches, and they're named for their spiny ridges beneath the eyes. Their reddish coloration and rough scales distinguish them from other rockfish species, of which there are more than 100 in the Pacific. The longevity of this animal is linked to its environment and its lifestyle. The cold, stable waters of the deep sea reduce their metabolic rates, I'm seeing a trend here, which may contribute to its slower aging. Like other long-lived marine species, they also exhibit delayed reproduction and low natural mortality. And these fish don't reach sexual maturity until around 20 or 25 years of age, and they reproduce infrequently, giving live birth to relatively few offspring. This reproductive strategy makes them vulnerable to overfishing. During the late 20th century, intensive bottom trawling and longline fishing reduced the populations of several deep-water species, including the rough-eye. Because they live so long and reproduce so slowly, recovery from any population decline can take decades or even centuries. As a result, fisheries in the US and Canada have implemented stricter catch limits to preserve rough-eye rockfish and related species. They're now a key focus in deep-water ecosystem management, especially given their role as predators of shrimp, smaller fish, and other invertebrates. Scientists continue to study this fish as a model for understanding vertebrate aging. Unlike mammals, these fish appear to experience minimal physiological decline over their long lifespans. They show no clear evidence of senescence, which is degeneration due to aging, and some individuals remain reproductively active even past 150 years. Good for them. Research is ongoing to determine what genetic and biochemical factors allow such long-term maintenance of cellular health. But in addition to their importance, these fish are of cultural and economic value too. Some are caught in deep-water sport and commercial fisheries, and their meat is considered high quality. However, given their age and slow population dynamics, many scientists advocate a precautionary approach to harvesting this species. The rough-eye rockfish. It exemplifies how life in the deep ocean fosters extreme longevity.